What is going on, YouTube? It's been a minute since I've seen you guys. I actually meant to make a video like 3 days ago now. When I got back from Maui, I was on vacation, having fun with the family. And then when I got home, my camera took a crap. A little bit of it's my fault, but we sent it back, bought another one. So hopefully I'll get that camera fixed, bring it back, and I'll be able to do some even better shots because I'll have 2 cameras. I'm hoping it goes well and we'll be able to do that. We'll see what they say. Because it still is under warranty, so a little bit my fault. I'm hoping they don't really know and find out. But anyways, yeah, let's get on to it. So in today's video, guys, I want to talk to you guys about, again, the car. People like the video that I did, the 8 things everyone should know about Cobras or Terminators. I did too. I think it was a good video, and I want to make kind of another video like that. That's what we're here to do. We're going to be talking about today the modifications done to this vehicle. Let's jump into that, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of, I guess, a secret into the dark side of the Cobras and what not to do and stuff. So I'll give you some info on what I have done to my car, why I did it, the reasons I did it, and what I think about it and how it's working for me. Because there's lots of guys that do it a different way. The way that I've modified my car is pretty different. It's on the other end of the spectrum, in my opinion, from most people. So I hope it'll be able to show you guys that you can do things differently and it can work out pretty well for you. So let's jump into that. Alright guys, first thing on our list, and just so you guys know, we're starting this from basically kind of the top of the engine, or how the engine works from the inside, like from the outside going into the engine and out, basically. Kinda, not everything's perfect, but for the first few of them, it's kind of set up that way. Number 1 on our list is going to be the JLT Ram Air intake. I bought this intake after I had my JLT high boost intake. That intake was actually on the car, working decent, but I had one problem with that intake. I felt like was maybe, you know, not the best, could or couldn't be, and my tuner said, and he was like, that intake's robbing horsepower. I took a gamble, put my money where his mouth was, went ahead and bought the JLT Ram Air intake. And he was absolutely right. The car definitely picked up power just from switching the intake. The problem I think I had with my high boost previously, though, was it utilized the stock MAF. Therefore, you know, it's longer pipe using a stock MAF. You're going to have more drag. I believe that was partially it. JLT makes their new high boost, which uses the tube, and they put a little slit in the side of it where your MAF goes directly into the side of that tube. Supposedly you're going to get really good MAF signal and everything, and really good flow, because where they put it is in the longest, like the middle of the straight part, which is decently long, and then on top of that, you're just going to have a big open diameter about the size. I think it's like, I want to say 5 or 6 inches, you know what I mean, on the filter end. So that's big, guys. Blowers hate restrictions, so if you can, get yourself a good intake. But let me show you guys what this one looks like. Here it is, boys. The JLT high boost, or not high boost, the JLT Ram Air. Sorry, guys. This is JLT Ram Air. Pretty simple, looks good. Big cone filter, which is good. I put my MAF up, so if I have to take it off, it's easy to unclip it. And wham, there we go. So, yeah, I like it. Looks good. Let's get on to number 2, boys. Number 2 on our list is the AccuFab monoblade throttle body and the elbow that goes along with it. Now, guys, if you buy a monoblade throttle body, you're gonna need the elbow to go with it. I just saw the Dragon one today. Dragon actually puts the idle air control on their throttle body so you can utilize the stock elbow, which I think is kind of cool. And they also kind of hide it and put it on the bottom side. So if you look over here, here's mine. They take the idle air control and they'll take it and they'll put it down on the bottom, hidden underneath, so it looks a little, you know, cleaner, smoother up top. I think the idle air control goes roughly in the same spot on the stock, the factory one. So that's it. I love it. Let's get on to number 3, boys. All right, what's number 3? Well, number 3 is going to be our ID 1050X injectors. So ID is a great company. They make really good injectors. I bought these injectors, as you can see right here. They're beautiful. Have beautiful purple caps on them. I really like them. I bought these injectors for, I believe, $800, I think is what it was. Which is a good deal. My tuner gave me a good deal on them, which is really cool. He hooked it up. He made a little bit of money on it, which is cool because, yet again, he's an awesome guy, awesome tuner. He always goes out of his way to help everybody, and my car runs flawless. So, and these injectors are just another thing to add to the whole list. If you guys can, and you want to go E85, I recommend these injectors because they're E85 friendly. Everything inside of them is stainless steel. And they're 105 pound, you know, an hour injectors. They're really good. They can flow quite a bit of horsepower. So it's kind of a one and done if you're going for any aftermarket blower or anything like that. So if you put a big blower on it, these will be able to handle it. I think even up to like the 4-liter Whipples. Guys can run these and make 900 on them pretty easily on E85. So that's pretty cool. If you like injectors and you care about horsepower and you're gonna do it, I recommend these injectors. Great company, great guys. So let's get on to number, what is it? What are we on, 4 now, guys? I think it's number 4, or is it 5? 4, guys, number 4. So what is number 4? Well, I needed, you know, these big injectors to go E85. I also needed a fuel pump. So I, instead of going like most people do, going to a sump tank or a big single, I went ahead, did some research, found these pumps. My buddy also did some research, Tony Cedillo, hooked it up. He's also the buddy that gave me a monoblade throttle body, and he also helped me find these tanks and hooked it up on some fittings. So I'll show you guys that in a minute. But yeah, these fuel pumps are awesome because they're basically plug and play. The only thing that you have to do is they have 2 little like alignment tabs, and you just have to smooth them off the connector, because the connector has these little bumps, raised bumps, and that's where they go into the fuel pumps to kind of guide them. The only thing I did, because the new fuel pumps don't have that, or it's like in a different spot, I just smoothed them off on the factory forward connectors and slid the factory connectors right in, and I've had really good luck with these pumps. They've been awesome, have not given me a single problem. My fuel pump duty cycle before on pump gas was like, I want to say in the 80s and 90s, if not low 90s, and then I put these in and it went into like low 70s, and then I went to E85. Actually no, it went to the 50s. It was like high 50s, then I went to E85, and now it's in like the low 70s, maybe 75, 76 when we're in it wide open throttle. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty good. We have a lot of headroom, so I love it. I love that I have headroom. It's always good to not be pushing your stuff to the max. This is also on a single FPDM, so if you guys are curious about that, I'm only running a single FPDM. The car only made 508 horsepower though. It's not, you know, 540, 550 like a lot of guys with porta blowers will make. If I was to do that, I wouldn't have quite so much headroom. But number 5 thing on our list is going to be the big intercooler tank with the ProWorks lid. So if you guys look at this bad boy right here, this is the big intercooler tank with a ProWorks lid. Now, I bought this tank polished. It was a polished tank when I got it, and I took it all apart, bead blasted everything inside and out, got all the gunk out of there, along with the, I also have the coolant reservoir one I just need to find a cap for, but I blasted them both, and then I took them to a buddy, bought powder coat, took them to a buddy, had him powder coat them, and they came out freaking awesome. I loved them. But I looked at this lid, one look at this lid, guys, you can agree, this thing's not very pretty. I don't like it. It was rusty on the inside. I mean, and they're just ugly. They're not anything like that lid. In my opinion, that lid right there adds a lot of value and just really good, clean look to the car. So if you guys are looking for that, that's a lid made by ProWorks. And I believe they call it the fuel cell lid. So hopefully one day they'll make one that's a little bit bigger. That's the only downside of it as so far is the opening's not that big, not as big as the other, but I don't do a bunch of ice shoving and this and that in there, so it's not a big deal. You can get ice in there, but yeah, like I said, I'm not too much, I don't do that too much. I don't beat the heck out of this car, race it at the drag strip. So let's get on to number 6, guys. What is the number 6 thing on our list? Well, that's going to be the Fluidyne triple pass heat exchanger. Now, this thing is really cool because I've seen a lot of other cars side by side, same day as mine, and seen their intake temps compared to mine, and this car does really well. My tuner was even a little surprised. He's like, I almost think something's wired wrong with your map sensor, because Ford uses a map sensor and intake air temp sensor in one. And he's like, I've seen it where from the factory they've switched the 2 wires. He thought that was happening with my car, but I know it wasn't, because I've watched the intake temps. When the car sits like this and I start it up or first get in it, it's the same temp, coolant temp, and my intake air temps are the same, which I know is right because everything's at the same temperature. And then if I shut the car off and park it, they would rise, you know, really high, get to like 140, 150, and then I start driving, they drop down to like 120, 110. This is in the summertime, guys, when it's literally like 95 degrees out, so that's why they're so hot. Right now in the winter, when it's 50 degrees out or so, I drive around with a consistent 60 to 65 degree intake, lower intake air temp, so it's pretty freaking cool. Pretty sweet little setup. Looks good. I like the polish on the end tanks. I like their little spray painted logo on there. It looks good. I recommend it because it's worked really well for me and proven a lot. It's just proven it to me. Over and over, this thing proves itself, and I see it day in and day out viewing my intake air temp. So if you want to get one, I recommend the Fluidyne, and I believe it's a little cheaper. So, you know what I mean? Go ahead, get your guys self one. They're a good deal. Let's get on to number 7, guys. MSD plug and play 2-step. Now, this is something you don't all need. It's not something that I needed per se. I bought it because I wanted to have it really more the sound than anything, because I know how to launch the car on the street, at the track. It's almost easier in my opinion to launch it without the 2-step. Just learn your car, figure it out, and launch it without. But at the same time, it's cool if my girlfriend gets in the car, I can turn the 2-step really far down, and she can just kind of mat it and let it go. It makes 500 foot-pounds of torque at 1900, 2000 RPM. It's literally ridiculous. So it almost spins the tires no matter what you do. But yeah, let's take a look at that. It's pretty sweet little setup. I've mounted mine over here. I don't know where people typically mount them, but if you can see on here, let me get the camera to focus. There's 2 numbers, and this is pointing to 4, and this one's pointing to 7. And if you look over here on the side, there's 1,000 and 100, and that's RPM. So this is 4,700 RPM. So whenever I hit 4,700 RPM, it'll just basically cut the spark and hold the RPM right there, which is really cool. And it sounds cool. I'll insert a clip for you guys. But if you look, you can see the harness back there comes in, and it just goes between. You unplug all your coils, and you plug it into the coils, and then your factory harness then plugs into the other side of it. So you got twice as much connectors underneath here, so it's kind of hard to fit it all, but I played with it, and you can do it, just so you guys know. Some people don't think you can. You absolutely can. Don't listen to them, guys. You can get it done. Just believe in yourself. So, number 8 on our list, guys. What is number 8? It's in that same area, but I made a video about kind of installing this. It's called Every Cobra Needs One of These, and that's my wideband. This is an innovative LC2 wideband controller. Instead of having a gauge, you get this little box and you just wire a power ground to it, key on power, a ground, and then after that you have one other wire that you run to your gauge. It's a 0 to 5 volt output, and that goes into your gauge, and then the other wire goes down here, and you can see it goes to a connector right there, and the other side of that connector then goes down to the sensor, which is in the exhaust. Really simple, guys. I set this up and I bought it like this because I didn't want a gauge. I don't like gauges. I think they're ugly, and if you guys haven't seen my video on it, you can go check it out. I show you how to wire it, how to get your key on power, and how to do it properly. But on the inside of my car, all I have is my SCT X4, which you need to be able to tune these cars. So if you're trying to do this setup from the get-go, you got to spend the $200 or $240, whatever it is, for the controller, and then you're going to need to buy an X4, which are like $450 or $400. And so if you're going to do it, it's very expensive to do it the way that I did, but because I already had to buy an X4 to tune the car, I figured, you know what, I don't want to mount a gauge anywhere in the car, make it look ugly. I think it looks ugly. Some gauges look good. Most gauges you have to put a gauge pot in and drill holes or do this and do that, and I just don't like to do that. So I went ahead and just wired it to my SCT, and I love it. Been the best thing I've ever done, and the benefit of that is I can also use it to data log with, or anytime I data log, that information is also input into it, so I can see that information. So that's really cool. If you guys have any questions about that, go check out my other video. If you have any other questions on it, comment on that video, and I'll try and respond to you guys and let you guys know. Let's get on to number 9 on this list, guys, is the Maximum Motorsports clutch cable and quadrant with a firewall adjuster. So yet again, I've done a video on this. I did a pretty good video in pretty good detail. If you guys have any questions, go check that video out. But here's a quadrant that goes on your clutch pedal. These two things go on there. Basically, when you push the pedal, this just spins backwards, tensioning the cable. And these guys, basically, all they do is your cable's on this end of it. This side's in the firewall. There's a screw you can see goes through there and holds it into the firewall like so. That would be like in the firewall. When you extend this out, it's basically shortening the cable. Therefore, you're going to get a tighter cable. So you take it and you can adjust it from there, which makes it really nice. You don't have to go under the car, crawl under there or jack it up and then crawl under there, because God knows I can't get under this thing. It's lowered. And then, do the manual bolt adjusting under there. So it's really cool to do it. I recommend the Maximum Motorsports one if you're going to get one. That's the one that I have. Their firewall adjuster is also like almost another third as long as this one, so it's like out to here, which is cool. That's just more play or more adjustment for you, so it makes it easier. So number 10 is going to be the McLeod RST twin disc. Yes, I said RST, not RXT. There's a difference between them. It's quite a bit of horsepower. Mine is the lower horsepower one. I believe it's rated for 600 foot-pounds of torque or 600 horsepower. I can't remember which one it is. And that's flywheel. This car's pretty close to that. So far I haven't had a single problem with it, but it's been really good. It holds the power well. It shifts really nice. The only downside that I have so far is it makes a little bit of noise because it's not a sprung clutch, it's an unsprung. You're gonna get a little more noise sent through your input shaft and your transmission, and you definitely hear that lugging noise a lot more. So if you're in too low of a gear, you're gonna have to upshift and get rid of that noise because it'll drive you insane. Drives me insane sometimes, but yeah, other than that, great clutch. I don't have any pictures of it, otherwise I'd show you guys. I like it. It's been good. It's a good street clutch. Works very well. What is number 11? Well, that's our BBK X-Pipe and Borla Catback. So this car's got a BBK X-Pipe catted with the cats knocked out. You know, hello. And then it has a Borla Stinger Catback. So not too loud. The attack's a little bit louder. I like where this car's at, especially if I put headers on it, which I may do at one point. I don't know, I'm up in the air. If I put headers on it, it would definitely lose, I think, a little bit of low end torque down low, but it would get loud. So I don't want to change it, because if I do decide to do it, I'd put money into something that I would be changing back, because the headers would make it so dang loud I wouldn't be able to hear myself think in the car. And it already has a little bit of a, it's not a drone, but it's just noisy. It's almost hard for my girlfriend and I to talk while I'm driving it. It's like, she knows I'm just driving the car and it's noisy and it is what it is. Now we're gonna get into the part I was telling you guys where I did stuff a little differently. So if you look at what I've done compared to other people, this is kind of crazy, and some people call me crazy, but I have a Metco 12-pound lower. Take a look right there, guys. That's a stock upper pulley, completely stock, nothing done to it. And you look down below, it's kind of hard to see. You guys look, you can see down there, that is a 12-pound lower, ladies and gentlemen. That's a big boy. That thing is huge, bigger than most people's dinner plate, and that is no joke. That thing spans, I think, 9.55 inches in diameter, which is huge. Most people will take this off and put a smaller upper pulley. They'll shrink this guy and leave the factory lower. Well, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have as much belt wrap. You guys can see I have a lot of surface area of belt on the blower here, and the reason I went bigger lower is because I wanted to keep this stock while yet spinning it at the same speed as everybody else does when they go to a smaller, you know, 2.9 inch, or, you know, I think some of the smarter guys do a 3-inch upper with like a 4 or 6 pound lower. That's a pretty good combo. But if you get anything smaller than that, you start getting into the 2.9, the 2.8s, the 2.7s, I believe that's going to be not enough pulley. I've seen them time and time again. They get into belt slip and they're having to change tensioners or go to manual tensioners. And those, you know, tensioners aren't cheap for these cars. I looked at a really good automated, or, you know, not a manual but a regular spring-loaded tensioner, and they're, you know, $400 to $500, maybe $600. I'm like, that's insane for a tensioner, guys. That's too much money. So I wanted to avoid that at all costs. I went this route. I've been very pleased. I very rarely have belt slip. Occasionally, between shifts, the belt or the tensioner will not tension properly, and it does slip a little bit, but the car has had the factory tensioner since 2004. It's literally the stock tensioner. I've never changed it. I'm sure if I went out and bought a factory style tensioner and put it on it, it would probably fix my problem. I just have been lazy and haven't done it, and it rarely does it, so I don't really care that much. And it only used to do it when it was like really hot. The blower was hot, the car was hot, so not that big of a deal. Now that it's winter, I don't care. So yeah, guys, pretty cool. I like it. I recommend doing it. The smallest I recommend, like I said, is a 3-inch upper with like a 4 or 6 pound lower. That's a good combination. If you want to be crazy like me, you're gonna have to change some stuff. But doing a combination of upper and lower is very expensive, whereas I just did a lower. It's a one-time deal. You have to do the lower, change it. Once you've changed it, it's easy to change outer ring size-wise. So if you ever wanted to go back to a stock size or something, all you got to do is buy the ring, and they're a lot cheaper. So that's the reason I did it, guys. It's worked well for me. I love it. I love the way the car sounds. Love the way it makes boost. Really cool. And also, my car makes a lot more torque than a lot of guys. It's very similar cars, except, or I should say, very similar boost levels, but my car makes a lot more torque. So I don't know if that's because of the lower, or if it's because it may make a little bit of, my car may make boost quicker? I'm not sure, you know, it depends. Because if we can feed the boost in a little sooner, it'll make a little more torque a little quicker. But who knows? I don't know. Every car is different. It's just how it is. But yeah. And then after that is I got a 3.2-inch alternator pulley to match. That's to slow down the alternator because I'm overspinning everything so fast on that serpentine belt setup. So I put a 3.2-inch. It really needs 3.5 to be slightly faster than spec. I bought it and I spec'd it originally for an 8-pound lower, which I did have on the car. I got rid of that, went to the 12-pound. Now it's overspinning the alternator a little bit, probably 5,000 RPM when the car's spinning. The alternator's spinning 5,000 RPM higher than it should when the car's doing 6,500 RPM. So at idle and stuff, it's not that big of a deal. It's spinning a little faster, but at idle, it's actually better because then my lights don't dim and, you know, my fan gets more power, all these things. So that's pretty cool. It's been really good in that sense, but up top, I don't want to be spinning it that fast. For all of you guys asking and wondering, I have only killed one alternator, so don't think that I've killed a bunch because that's not true. A lot of guys, in my opinion, kill alternators by underspinning them and drawing too much from the alternator while they're not able to produce because they're spinning too slow. You'll do the same thing. That's why if you look at any good manufactured alternator like Power Master or any company that makes a good alternator, they will send in their kit a pamphlet or a piece of paper that says, do not put this alternator on a dead battery. You will void the warranty on your alternator. And it's for that reason. You can do the same. It's called browning out, or, you know, just burning up essentially. You don't want to do it. It's bad. There's people out there that don't understand how this works. They'll be saying I'm crazy, but it's true. It's 100% true. You can ask anybody that's good at electricity or electrical engineers. They'll tell you the same thing. So I don't know all the specs on it, but yeah, don't be an idiot. Don't underspin it. Get it close to stock. A little above, like a little fast or a little slow, doesn't matter. As long as you're in that ballpark, you're going to be okay. Just don't underspin it because you're going to be doing the same thing as overspinning it. Next on our list, guys, is the MGW. What is this? I don't know, 12 or something like that. This is number 12 or 13. Short throw shifter with a weighted Cobra shift knob. So let me take you guys inside the car. I'll show you that one. Pretty cool. I like it. It's done me good. I love the way it feels, actually, to be honest. And it has the race handle, by the way, just so you guys know. So there's 3 different handles they make, and they obviously make different knobs. This is the race handle version. It's the shortest. So by being short, it means your shifts are going to be shorter and quicker. If you look, that's first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear. I mean, you can grab fifth, but you should never grab fifth. Fifth is right there. But yeah, not very far. That's all the way left, all the way right. Not very much. That's not very much, you know, side to side. So, and that's third gear, fourth gear. It's about yay. It's probably, you know, 3 inches of throw. Yeah, if that, guys. So that's pretty nifty. Not too bad. I love this shift knob. It's almost like a hard rubber. Pretty cool. Feels really cool. Definitely easy to get used to. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, let me know. There's my SCT for, you know, the guys wondering earlier where it was or what it is. Just this little screen, do readouts. Anything the PCM reads or ECM, the SCT can read out. You can have it be displayed on there, which is really cool. Fuel pumps, duty cycle, injector duty cycle, timing, blah, blah, blah. You name it, you can do it, buddy. Really cool. The final thing on my list, well, it's kind of the final. I'm going to wrap it up into a multiples. It's basically suspension type stuff. Actually, we'll split this up because I have 2, really. I have a Moroso line lock, which is on the car with 2 solenoids. And then I also have Maximum Motorsports caster camber plates with the bolt delete, or change, not delete, but you change the bolt from a standard bolt head to a button head to get more clearance in the rear for the tires. And I also have an 11-inch wide wheel with a 315 tire on there. So if you guys look right here, the Maximum Motorsports caster camber plates, pretty cool, pretty clean. I actually got this car. There was a guy looking at buying this car when I went to get it. This car had 15,700 miles on it when I went and bought it. There was a guy that did not buy it because it had these caster camber plates and you have to drill a hole in the strut tower. And he said, I want a car that is basically 100% stock, comp orange, doesn't have any mods done to it. And when I bought this car, it was very simple, just had an intake, and that was basically it. Intake in the same exhaust that's on it now. And a tune, and that was it. These caster camber plates are good. What they do is they will keep you in proper geometry for your suspension. If you haven't seen these or don't know what they do, that's what they do. They allow you to move. As you can see, these are slotted. If you don't know what they do, these are slotted here, these are slotted here, so you can adjust the strut and you can move the top of it where you need to get all your geometry right on the money. Perfect. Whenever you lower a car, this has H&R lowering springs. I believe they're the race lowering springs. You can see it sits pretty nicely. But whenever you lower your car, your suspension, when it lowers, it wants to actually tuck the top of the tire in. And the reason for that is just the way that the geometry is set up with the A-arms and everything. And so to combat that, you need to get these caster camber plates, because you can't, with the factory plates, they have no adjustment or very little, and you can't get the front geometry to meet factory spec with the car sitting lower. So that's the whole reason you get them. That's why you do them. On to the next is the rear. There's bolts back here that I can't show you guys. All they do is, instead of being a typical, you know, yay thick head, they go to a button head, which is thinner and smoother, gives you more clearance. But you can see I have Mickey Thompson ET Street SS's on here in a 315. Right there, 315, 35, 17. Shout out to Solace. He hooked it up, and these have been really good. They hook up really well, surprisingly. I need to just take it to the track. Too bad our track's closed now, so I'm not going to be able to see this year, but it is what it is. We'll see on the street. I've done some burnouts on them, and they seem to do pretty well. Pretty ecstatic with them, so. Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Comment down below. Like this video. If you like it, please give it a big subscribe. It's going to be over here? We'll do it over here. My face will be here for my channel, and my next video will be over here. So subscribe right here, guys. Subscribe right here. Okay? Subscribe here. Watch my next video over here. Give it a big, this is a half a heart. You guys can make the other half. We can be, you know, friends, loving. Thanks guys. I appreciate you guys watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And